Hello again. I'm not going to stand there because I don't like standing behind things, because that means I can't come and see you, because I have to come and see you, because I need to be able to see that there's somebody sitting right up the very back of the room that I can still see. Yeah, we're going to talk about building tribes and things like that. How it used to be. Scary times. I know that I, as an entrepreneur, would never have been able to cope with this as the way it was, yeah? Big corporates, big names, people that were known, they were well trusted, they were well believed, and they had reputations, and they also had millions and millions of pounds to put into their marketing, to put into their sales, to put into their distribution and everything. It was all about push. They told us what we wanted. I can remember it happening. I can remember going into places, going into big brand shops and thinking, I don't want that. I don't want that. But they were telling me that that's what I wanted. And I think we were all bullied horribly for a very long time by a system that was driven by what other people told us we wanted. And I think, I'm going to say this, I think as women we were incredibly susceptible to being told what it was we were supposed to want in life. Finish, end, from beginning to end. And that, I think, has changed so much over the last, probably over the last 30 years. When we were talking earlier on and I introduced myself, I really have been a Punch and Judy man's assistant. I don't say these things lightly. It was a horrendous experience. I only did it for a little while. And I was that glamorous person that did stuff. But I also started life as a PE teacher. And I didn't bring the whistle, so you're safe. We will not get you running around in your vest and pants to keep warm. But the experience of teaching led me to start my first business when I went out to Australia in 1986. And I went out there with 3 very small children. I emigrated. I had a husband then. That's another story, and we don't have any time to go into that. But anyway, I came back with 4 children eventually, and they all had the same dad, but that's also another story. What I learned about teaching, from teaching, and as a person who had been in receipt of teaching, was that the teachers that made the biggest impact on me were the ones who sold me their subject. Because I was not a good student. I was rubbish. I spent more time in the corridor outside than I did actually in the classroom, I'm sure of that. Cookery, needlework, you could guarantee I was chucked out every time. If I was in the classroom, I was far more likely to be trying to watch the boys playing rugby out on the field than I was watching what was going on in the class. Unless the teacher engaged me, unless that person made me want to learn. So when I went out to Australia with my kids at the ages they were, 3, 2 and 1, I thought, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to go back into teaching? Not with children of that age, not a chance. So I thought, what should I do? So I phoned up a company and said, I'd like to show you my information on training for sales. And they said, OK. I said, I've just arrived from the UK. This is a brand new product. You've never seen it before. And I completely bullshitted my way into a position where I started to train in sales. But teaching and selling are the same thing. The best teachers you've ever experienced are people who have sold you what they're saying. Yeah? So that was my first business. I can't remember even how we got there. I'm not even going to try and... Anyway, but that was how it used to be, where everything was actually pushed at us. And it's very different now, and I'm so glad. Because there has been this massive change, a change in culture, a change in the way we access everything, accountability, technology, attitude. Change is the order of the day, and I think for women, it's been a massive, massive benefit. We stand to benefit far more than what would have been termed traditional businesses perhaps 20 or 30 years ago. But also women are incredibly resourceful. Women have always been very, very resourceful. some time ago, I started doing a series of talks about the history of women in enterprise and in business. Women have always run businesses. In this country, the Industrial Revolution put the tin hat on that for a while, really upset everything. And everything was done, you had to go and work for someone else. But before that, men and women, the whole country was run on cottage industry, small business that was run from inside people's homes. It's only since the Industrial Revolution that it really changed. So I've been a bootstrapper, I've run a company. As I said, I actually had to write my own redundancy notice, which was absolutely wonderful. The way the world is now, these hundreds of thousands of small companies all offering a whole myriad of things in a myriad of different ways. And it's very, very different. And we've adjusted. Women have adjusted to this much more quickly than men have. I think an awful lot of the online businesses are being driven by women and bought by women. It's one of the most empowering things ever, to be able to just sit there and go, click, I'll have that. Oh, no. Click, I'll have that. Click, I'll have that. Still nice to go to the shops, but it's about how you differentiate yourself now. So all these people are still out there. The world is your oyster, basically. But how are you going to get them to follow you? What makes you special? And you'll notice I didn't say get customers, because nowadays your customers are actually your followers. They're people who want a bit of you. And what Emma was saying earlier on about stories, that's where you have a real corner on the market. Using yourself and putting yourself into your business and telling your story or a story, and we'll come on to the A story in a bit, is a way that you can compete and be different and other. Years ago, if somebody had said to me that their unique selling point was themselves, I would have laughed, everybody would have laughed. It wasn't considered to be proper business practice. But it is now. Because what people are looking for is every single one of you. And they know, just as you're all dressed totally differently, isn't it lovely when you go and nobody's got the same frock on that you have? How do blokes feel when they go to these business conferences? Oh, yeah. Oh, nice suit. Oh, nice suit. We all come in looking totally different. We express ourselves differently. We are different. We know that. So we need to make the most of that and actually take that forward as we go. I always suffered with two horrible things. The first one was charlatan syndrome, and I had a quick touch of it this morning as I sat in the middle of this stage, and I looked to the right of me, and I looked to the left, and I thought, what the hell am I doing here? Why me? Why am I sitting here? Whose big idea was that? It passes now because I know I'm okay and I know I can do what other people know I can do. But it took a long while for that to pass. I found myself in government meetings. I've been asked to comment on green papers on enterprise in prisons. And I've thought, why? Why do they want to know what I think? And I now know it's because I know stuff that they want to know, that they don't know. And you're all the same. And I know you all go to things, it's our nature. You will all turn up at things where you think to yourself, but I don't know anything. Why am I here? And you get that horrible shrinking feeling, you want to get smaller and smaller. And I did this morning, it happened again. But the other thing I've got, the other syndrome I possess is something that I've called all my life Pied Piper's syndrome. And it's quite scary. When I get involved with things, if I get passionate about something, if I get interested in it, if I love it, I can sell it or I can teach it. And before long, I turn round and there's a couple of people standing behind me and they're going, we want to do that as well. And then you look a bit further back and there's more people. And it's called leadership. I didn't know that, and when I was much younger, it used to terrify the pants off me because I'd want to say, go away, leave me. I don't want people depending on me, following me. Don't want people perhaps to trust me either, because I might not have felt as if I knew where I was going all the time. Whether you're leading yourself or leading a little group or leading a big group, there's that bit of responsibility. And I used to really push it away. And every now and again I've had to give in to it because it's really good fun as well. So, I think that you are your biggest USP. And if you want to create people that are going to follow you and want what you sell, whether that be a product, a service, whatever it is, you have to trade on your story. How special you are, how different you are, and how different you all are from each other. That, to me, is really, really important. People all day today have been talking about being authentic. One of the things I've lived by all my life is if you want to do good, if you want to make a difference, if you want to do good business. Because nowadays, everybody is watching you from every conceivable angle. As soon as that website goes up, as soon as that Facebook page goes up, as soon as you set up that Twitter account, everybody is watching you. Watching them. It's a very strange society we live in now, but I think we're all getting much more used to it, and I think we're getting better at using it in a good way rather than in a very negative way. But it is important that you are authentic, that you are real. Be the real deal. That is incredibly important. I can only talk like this because I really believe in what I'm saying. I can't do the pretend stuff. And you've got to be the same about what you're doing, your business. You know you believe it inside. You wouldn't have started a business unless you really believed in it. I don't think you would. So if you do, that's how you have to talk about it. And don't be ashamed of being passionate about your business. Don't be ashamed of promoting it, recklessly sometimes. Be authentic and be real. Be what people want. That's what makes you other and different. Yeah, there are so many people out there who just aren't like this. So how are you going to communicate that message of being that different? Why would people follow you? Why would they care? That's key. Why would they buy into your message? And why would they buy financially? If you take the word why at the beginning of there, they want to know why you do what you do. Why do you run your business? They don't always want to know the hows, the whats, the wheres. They want to know why you do what you do. What makes you tick? What makes that business, what made it come into fruition, in other words. And women are particularly interested in that kind of story. Quite often women will say to me, not what do you do, but why do you do what you do? Why? So you've got to give that back to people and actually be that person, that story of that business, if you like. So taking that message down, authenticity, the story, ethics and integrity. The why is about connecting and building relationships. We've got integrity there and ethics. Most people now are building ethical businesses that are based on real integrity. You have to make sure that that runs right the way through. Otherwise, people will find out and it will get dug up and it won't go anywhere. If we're saying it, it's not like it used to be with the massive, great companies, and still is to a certain extent. They can hide behind their massive PR machines. They can hide behind their marketing employees. They can hide behind the people that they employ to put the front face on. When you're a little business, you can't. It's you. You are all of those things. And so rather than have things to hide, do it right. As I said, if you want to do good business. You will sleep better every night if you do, and there won't be things that people can dig up about you, yeah? Do good stuff, and the good stuff will come back to you. So, some more things to think about, different words, empathy, relationship, engage in them, and trust. Your values will reach out to your followers, and that's what they will buy into. Why have we got a random picture right in the middle? This was one of the first things that I looked at in 1986. That is ages and ages and ages ago. But that's when I went to Australia. And I saw this very, very short little film. If you've never seen it, go and find it. It's the first little film that Pixar ever put out. And it's Luxor Jr., the little lamp, and how he plays with the ball. It was the most incredible piece of marketing, but it told a story. I didn't care. I watched that for, I think it runs for about 3 minutes, that's all. I didn't care after that what Pixar did. I just knew that I loved it. I buy emotionally. Most of us buy emotionally. Women are the buying power in this country. Any woman that has a male partner, she's making the decisions about the car, the house, everything. We know that. They may not know that yet, but we know that. Women buy emotionally. We buy stories. We buy little lights that play ball. Yeah, it sounds weird, totally weird. But that's what brings you followers. It's having something that is so unique. Have you seen it? The IKEA T-shirt ad. And I got so worried about the little blue one at the end that was behind. And then in the end, it comes flying in the window and hangs itself up. How weird is that? Why can I get emotionally involved with little T-shirts? They are very clever people, yeah? Have you got any funny little clever T-shirts fluttering about in your business? Think about it. There are things that you have in your business that you could exploit in, not in quite this way. I mean, that wonderful picture where they're all flying behind the boat and then they fly. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, go find it. It's all you, and you know where to find it. It's all out there. Now this is something completely different. Anybody heard of Eric Whitacre? A couple of people. Did anybody sing? Yes, well done. Maria, did you sing? No, didn't sing. Okay. This guy standing right in the middle here, is called Eric Whitacre. And about 6 years ago, he started something called the Virtual Choir. And he put a request out, a call out across the internet for people who wanted to sing. You didn't have to audition. You didn't have to do anything. What you had to say was, I want to sing. And what he did was he sent everybody, he emailed them the piece of music, and they worked out which part their voice was best suited for. In other words, if you squeak too much, you're not in the bit up the top. And he then got them to record their part into their computer with their cam on. He then turned it into a performance where he stood in the middle, and all of these little tiny things are different people's films of them singing. He's done this on 5 or 6 consecutive years. And he conducts it, and all those people join together, and they are from all over the world. These represent all the different continents. And there are thousands and thousands of people all singing simultaneously. He's brought it all together, and they're part of his virtual choir. Now, you may not like singing, and you may think it's a load of rubbish, but I tell you what, that is really clever. Because he now has all those people who are following, yeah? And as a result of that, it's grown and grown and grown exponentially. He's created a tribe. People want to belong to something. You may not be aware of any urge you have to belong, but you came today. Something about today made you think, oh, I want to go and be part of that. I want a bit of that. I'd like some of that. I'd like to go and sit there with other women that run businesses. I'd like to listen to the... It's a primeval urge to actually belong and to come together. Women are actually very, very good at it. We are collaborative. We will support each other. We will help each other. Not everybody will, but most will. This sort of thing, coming along and belonging, is actually critical. One of my very favourite people on Facebook, Little Dotty Bird, the company's called. Little Dotty Bird is a creative artist. She builds, creates, sews, makes, generates incredible things. Do you know who's most popular? Ermintrude. Ermintrude has actually made Little Dotty Bird very famous on Facebook because Ermintrude actually seems to be running the show. The woman behind Little Dotty Bird, who I spoke to online a little while ago, I said to her, can I please use your photos? And she said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. So there's a bit of a Facebook page. Ermintrude Mouse has been planning to travel the big wide world again. She's happy just floating about in the kitchen window for now, though. 83 people click like on that. 83 people. You know, I'm lucky if I get 5 sometimes. If I get 10, I'm going, woohoo, you know. 83 people clicked on that because of that bloody mouse. I don't even like mice. But what did I do? I sat and I thought, click. OK, so it's a bigger story, obviously. But things like that sell things. It's not just about, unfortunately, your product, your service. It's not just about how good your business is. If you want to tell a story, find something a bit quirky, a bit weird, something perhaps that nobody else has done, but something that connects to you, something that belongs to you, that you then push out into the world. So, Little Dotty Bird, go and find her. Click on Ermintrude Mouse, you'll love her. She's great. She's up to all sorts. OK. Some of you may or may not have noticed that I have a little flamingo badge on my top. Why would flamingos be connected to women's enterprise? Well, this goes back to running the social enterprise I was talking to you about. We got thrown out of our offices because we weren't supposed to be in there. We moved in too quick. We were very keen to get in there. And we found out that we were actually in breach of the lease. So we got thrown out and we had to go and... For the first week, we ran the business from the coffee shop in the middle of the Westgate Centre in Stevenage. I'm sure you've all done similar things, you know. Just, where will we run the business from? Well, let's go and sit in the coffee shop then and we'll run it from there. And because the woman I was working with at the time was so fed up, it really mattered to her that there was an office. It really mattered. A bit like Emma was saying, you know, got very grown up. We'd got an office, you know. We weren't just sitting in the backs of our cars, you know, with loads of training material. It really upset her. So I bought 2 full-size pink flamingos, not real ones, plastic ones covered in feathers, but 2 to make her laugh, because I thought it would be really funny. And I bought an inflatable palm tree and I took it all to the coffee shop for the Monday morning and I put it right by where we were going to sit. I did ask the people that ran the coffee shop first. And she walked in and just burst out laughing. Instead of bursting into tears and being really grumpy because we were running a business from a coffee shop, she was really pleased. So there were these 2 big pink flamingos and they sat there all week. We did more business in that week. We really, really did, because people kept walking past going, what the hell? What's with the flamingos? Why? And it was a conversation opener. It had nothing to do with women's enterprise, nothing at all. But it grew from there. So we then moved, when we got the office back, we then moved the flamingos into the office. And when our bank manager came in to see us, I gave him a pink flamingo pen. A really cheap and nasty one, but it was all covered in pink fluff. He couldn't refuse it. There was a real one standing there. I said to him, have one of our pens. The accountants had them, the solicitors had them. Anybody that we really valued, we gave one of these really rubbish pens to. But they became a token, they became a badge. They were symbolic. They were connected to us through a pink flamingo. Weird, but it worked. And it went on and on and on. And when the head of the small business service finally retired some years ago, as she left at her retirement party, I presented her with a very large pink flamingo. And she was absolutely delighted. I'm sure she's thrown it somewhere. It's been in the skip for years. But it's how you can make these links. What is it? Where is in your business? What could you pull at? It might happen by accident, like the Flamingoes did. But don't be blind to it, because it's things like that that actually make it a tribe, because people want a bit of that. Pink flamingo pens, it must have gone up through the roof, the shares in them. It was ridiculous. So, who are you leading? Is it just you? We heard earlier on this morning, 75% of businesses in this country are one person. But even if you're just one person, you've still got to be a leader. And you've still got to lead you. You've got to lead yourself through those awful times when you want to give up. You've got to lead yourself through those times when people aren't paying you and you've got to make that phone call you don't want to make. You've got to lead yourself day after day after day. So even if it's just you, you are still a leader, and you need to value that in yourself. Could be that you're leading a small team. That's what I meant about that Pied Piper syndrome, how it can then start to feel a bit uncomfortable. Step up to the plate, girls. If you've led families, been part of families, you can lead a small team, you know that. You could lead a much bigger team. You'd lead a blooming football team, that's for sure. You need to think about, you have all these leadership qualities. They might have gone to sleep a little bit. You need to wake them up again. Lead yourself, lead your teams, lead your followers and customers. Give them something to follow. Give them something to believe in. Because if they don't, they will probably go somewhere else, which would be a great shame. Just some bits to just go through in your head. You can get all these online. I hate PowerPoint. Anyway, I normally don't do PowerPoint. This man, you want to know how to find out about tribes? Go and find him. Yeah, one of the most inspirational people you will see. The first one is a link to his blog, so you can write that down. Go and see what he talks about, and go and watch his TED Talk on building tribes. He will say much more than I can. He will do it much better than I can. But he is somebody that you all need to just watch, just once. If you never want to go there again, that's cool. But go and watch him just once. Yeah. So, loyalty is all about knowing what makes you tick, daring to be different from everybody else. Be a one-person tribe. If you don't believe in it in yourself, in your heart, how on earth is anybody else going to believe in it? And I know it gets tough, and I know it gets hard, but that's when the leader has to kick in. Yeah, develop the dreaded Pied Piper syndrome and all the responsibility of leadership. You know what that feels like because you're doing it for yourself already, and it is hard to bring other people with you, but bring them along and keep it real. Hear what people are saying. Relate it to your business. Listen to your followers. They want to belong to you. They don't want to belong. They don't want to be out there just wandering about, lost and aimless. They need to belong. Make it your business that they belong to. Protect your integrity. Behaviour is your reputation. Marmite, controversy. Yeah, it can be great. It's only okay if you can handle it. Don't be tempted to do or say something totally random just to be different. Yeah? Great if you can handle it, but not if you can't. Make sure your reputation is snow. We said that earlier. People can find out almost anything they want to find out nowadays, and we don't want that. None of us want that. We want to operate ethically. Got any skeletons in the closet? Get rid of them now, or tell people about them. I always used to talk about my two businesses. One was a raging success, and one failed, and I had to close it and make 12 people redundant, including myself. I failed in that business. Years ago, nobody would have wanted me to have talked about that. That would have been taboo. Don't talk about failure. Don't talk about failure. Yeah? Fear of failure is there in us all, but so is fear of success. And when they talked earlier on about fear of failure, I thought, yeah, but we need to remember the fear of success. Because what happens if you are suddenly incredibly successful? Could you cope? And that holds us back as well. There's a little element there in us that thinks, oh, I'm not sure about that, I'm not sure about that. Might be a bit too big for me, might be a bit quick. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And for goodness sake, do walk the talk. If you say you're going to do it, do it. Don't ever say and then not do it. Communicate with people and involve them and connect. Oh, sorry about that. Ooh. So really, just to finish off, these are the notes that I've not read. Bit of a waste of time, really. It seemed so important when I did it. What I was going to finish off with was just to say that one of the big things I do know about in life is that I think we've got about 120, 130, perhaps a bit more people here today. In the whole big banner of life, 10% of you will have liked me from when you saw me this morning. And you won't have known why you liked me, you just liked me, it was okay. 80% in the middle will have sat there with what we call latent goodwill, which is a half smile, but we're not sure yet, Lennon, you've got something to prove. The other 10% of you, and don't avoid my eye contact, you can't stand me, no matter what I do and no matter what I say. You think everything I've said this afternoon has been a load of rubbish, and that's also cool. Because I'm actually prepared to put my money on the 80% I can influence and I can turn into followers by the way I behave, by the way I talk, by my genuine attitude, by my ethical approach, by my integrity, and because I want you to be on my gang, yeah? If I could have had 90% of everything all my life, I would be very pleased. Unfortunately, as women, we tend to concentrate on that 10%. Yeah, why don't they like me, Mum? Oh, well, no, Susan doesn't like me, you know, I went to school and Susan hates me, you know. I didn't do anything. There will always be 10% of people that don't like you. You're here now, but I haven't been talking to you. I've been talking to the other 90%, yeah? 10% like me anyway, and 80% are going to come for the ride because they can and because they want to and because it's fun. That's about it, girls. It's been lovely to meet you all. I've actually managed to have a chat with some of you throughout the day. I will catch up with you. Come and find me on the Enterprising Women Facebook page. If I suddenly get a load of stuff on there, I'll know it's you lot. We talk about everything on there. We don't just talk about business stuff. We talk about our stuff. We talk about the things that stop us. We talk about the things that inspire us. We talk about the things that make us cry. We talk about the things we ought to do. And then we go and do them. Yeah? So thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you all.